Good evening and welcome to Business 7. In tonight's program, we bring you an update on visa requirements and we look at news across the African continent. But first, let's quickly visit the marketplace. Let's get the ball rolling by looking at the business highlights across the African continent for the past week as compiled by Reuters.
Here's what's been making the business headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. President Cyril Ramaphosa vowed on Thursday to revive South Africa's flagging economy by resuscitating factories and farms, building roads, and seizing the opportunities presented by green energy. Making his first policy speech to a new parliament since his ANC lost its parliamentary majority, Ramaphosa acknowledged that the economy had barely grown in the last 15 years. Trading houses are facing losses of at least $1 billion on cocoa derivatives after major producer Ghana failed to deliver beans this year, 6 industry sources have said. Much of Ghana's cocoa is bought months in advance by trading houses who also take short positions on the futures market to protect against losses on the long position. The strategy unravels, however, if physical delivery is delayed in a rallying market, as has been the case with Ghana, which has been grappling with a disastrous harvest. Nigeria's main labour unions on Thursday agreed a new minimum wage of 70,000 naira a month, or $44 after talks with the government. That ends months of deadlock and the threat of strikes. Rio Tinto said on Tuesday that its massive iron ore project in Guinea, being jointly developed with a Chinese consortium, has received all necessary regulatory approvals. The Samandu project, delayed for years by legal, political and infrastructure hurdles, is set to be the world's largest and highest-grade new iron ore mine, with production commencing by the end of 2025. And finally, Zimbabwe will stick to what it promised when it launched a new currency in April, its central bank governor said on Wednesday, by ensuring it remains fully backed by reserves. Zimbabwe Gold, or ZiG for short, is the 6th attempt at a local currency in 15 years after a bout of hyperinflation under former leader Robert Mugabe. Governor John Mushayivanu said confidence can only come with walking the talk, referring to the central bank's commitment not to print money to finance government spending, which drove previous currency collapses.
Get ready for the ultimate rugby showdown experience. JSB Sports Betting and Synergy Marketing bring you an exclusive chance to witness South Africa take on New Zealand in Cape Town on September 7, 2024. Win match day tickets, return flights from Windhoek Airport shuttle service, and 2 nights accommodation for 2 adults. Entering is easy. Just save the number 085-785-6231. Send a WhatsApp with the keyword #JSB. Follow the prompts and place a bet on any rugby fixture via JSB Sports Betting between June 29th and August 17th, 2024. Enter now and stand a chance to win this incredible prize. TNC apply. Win big with JSB Sports Betting and Synergy Marketing. Don't miss out. Register today and make your rugby dreams come true.
Earlier this year, Cabinet gave the Ministry of Home Affairs and Immigration the mandate to impose new visa regulations and requirements on some countries, in the world. Now, at that stage, we weren't sure if it was going to be imposed and what the implications will be. We now know that the ministry intends to impose these, or they will become effective in April next year. And the countries that are on the list that will now require visas to visit Namibia include most of Europe, the United Kingdom, as well as the United States. We spoke to Ceres Capital economist Tannen Groenewald about the implications of these visa requirements on tourism in Namibia.
I think Namibians will argue that if a tourist wanted to come to Namibia, they would go through the process and pay the visa fee. But it's not necessarily the cost that's the issue. I mean, the average tourist visa cost is less than a day of the median income in the Eurozone. It's the requirement itself that acts as the barrier. I mean, the most reported barrier to travel tourism is a visa requirement, because now the tourist has to ask themselves, do they need a visa? How much is it going to cost? How long is it going to take to get the visa? So those are three additional questions they need to ask before they can book that flight and before they can book that hotel and make the trip. I think we really need to be cognizant of the fact that citizens from these countries hold very powerful passports, and they've got a whole list of countries that they can travel to without a visa. So what's going to happen if Namibia is removed from that list? I guess then how the volumes will be affected is how well known are our differentiators, our coastline, our beauty. Because we compete now with our neighboring countries. We've got the Victoria Falls on the border of Zambia and Zimbabwe. We've got South Africa that's got Cape Town, Stellenbosch, and national parks. So then if this comes through, how are we going to stand out? And if I can give a reverse example, when Mauritius and Seychelles, they previously had visa requirements. When they lifted that, the rate at which their tourism arrivals were growing was far greater than that before the introduction. And I think the worry is that it's going to have the reverse case.
Neo Paints has established a 67-year Namibian legacy, creating personalized paint solutions that blend quality and innovation for the Namibian people. We pride ourselves in being a 100% Namibian-owned company, investing in our country and our people by employing and empowering true Namibians. With every brushstroke, Neo Paints commits to our quality guarantee and always delivering a coat of excellence. At Neo Paints, we always stay true to our country. We are as Namibian as you.
One of the biggest impacts that the new visa requirements will have if it is implemented by government is the consequences it will have for employment in Namibia. We return to Tannen Groenewald, economist at Ceres Capital.
I think definitely the biggest one is its effect on employment and demand on the street. I mean, in the latest Afrobarometer survey, which I'm sure you've seen, by far the largest concern by Namibians is unemployment. And do you know how many votes there were for foreign travel? There were none. So the sector really employs nearly 15% of the total jobs in the country, and it's especially important for providing formal jobs in rural areas where they might not find formal jobs in other sectors. And it goes beyond formal jobs even, because if you look at the informal jobs created, we have to remember that 50% of people in this industry are self-employed. Think about the people that are at the airport offering transport service. Think about the people along the coast that are offering paddling and kayaking, and the people all along the country that are selling goods on the sides of the roads. In many cases, this is their only source of income. And particularly for female employment, it's the most female-dominant sector. There's well over 3 women for every man employed in this sector, but it's the second largest employer behind agriculture, which is largely subsistence farming. So it employs 18% of females in the entire country, just in the accommodation sector alone. And we haven't even touched on the indirect and induced employment and other economic effects that come from this, because the tourism sector has one of the largest multipliers in the country because it's so reliant on other sectors in the country. Like, for example, wholesale and retail. The average tourism expenditure in 2022 on mall shopping was 7,000, and it was nearly 6,000 on groceries alone. So it shows you how reliant it is on these other sectors. But yeah, outside employment, we've spoken about how it earns us that nice hard currency. And I think a particular concern for myself is with this oil and gas money that's coming in. All of these foreign investors, they're going to look closely at how government is going about their policy decision making. And if they see that government can just switch up in a moment's notice, I think that's very worrying.
Let me quickly show you something. Don't worry. Next time, I check nice.
Thanks, but it's okay. FNB Insurance checks nicer.
At FNB Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables. From your phone, to your laptop, to your car. FNB Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
There has been a lot of talk about what the possible motive can be from a government wanting to impose these new visa requirements. Once again, Daniel Groenewald, economist at Ceres Capital.
I think we're all just a bit in the dark as to how exactly they're going to roll this out and when they're going to roll it out, in what format. But yeah, I really have to ask, what is the goal with this policy? Because these other countries that have not reciprocated and not let us in easily, they have valid reasons. Because we have very high overstay rates in these countries. We have very high rates of asylum seekers. I read that piece there in the newspaper that Canada, I think it was 2013, Namibia had by far the highest rate of asylum seekers.
Yes, exactly.
80%.
Yes.
So these are valid reasons, but we don't experience these same kinds of problems. So what is our goal? Is it to help the Namibians with foreign travel to go abroad? Because only 3% of Namibians actually fly. What about the rest that cannot afford to fly and are instead reliant on these foreigners coming in the country and spending their money within the borders to create their employment and income? I think Namibians will also argue that these countries should reduce their visa fees or allow multiple visa entries, but then that's not reciprocity then. And yeah, I think the revenue that's generated from this is going to be a drop in the bucket in terms of our total revenue and its complications for the budget. And that money is not going to be sufficient, and it's not going to be redistributed to the tourism industry and the loss of employment of everyone that's in that industry. So yeah, I think the policy could be damaging to the 97% that don't fly and that instead rely on not just the direct effects of tourism, but the indirect effects to the entire economy.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
We are all seeking connection to each other, to the world, to the spaces we exist in.
Poor sportsmanship right now from the lads. 1.85 for the national record. Here's another chance, and it is a goal from Vindo Kahn.
Zij zegt, ja, is er aan neertrekken. Hij bal lijkt mij grond gevat. Ja, hij is grond gevat. En dan zien we het.
So, we will be doing this. More advanced, slightly advanced.
So, is jou trolley reg? Want
I love it. I love it. So then
kickstart our countdown at number 5 with this one. Op Netwerk TV se Klets Kompas gesels ons nuus van 'n Maandag tot Donderdag. Ons kyk ook na die weer en meer. Stories wat jou raak en stories wat saak maak.
They've made a mistake in denying me bail, and they've made several other mistakes in many other cases.
The channels that teach us something new or reflect our expression. So it goes beyond switching to the right station. It's about choosing the experience that can adorn the present, dressing it with our tastes as we expand our preferences, because what we are actually connecting to is boundless, limitless human energy. And this is the spirit of NTV.
Africa's richest man is Aliko Dangote. He hails from Nigeria. Now, recently he took a tour of his $20 billion refinery, and during this tour he addressed issues like quality of gas and oil as well as crude supply. Reuters filed this report.
Our own production, we have seen, we have tested it, is 87 ppm. And by the time you come even on Monday, we'll be at 50. By beginning of August, end of this month, beginning of August, we'll be at 10 ppm.
E-Ticket, your online ticket solution for events and event marketing, bringing you ease of mind and making sure that your event gets out there. For more information, contact events@nmh.com.na.
We've come to the end of this Business 7. Thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you again next week. We're playing out with a video from Reuters showing that deforestation is not just a problem in Namibia, but also in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Until next week, goodbye.
Under the once lush slopes of the Nyiragongo volcano in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, traders are hard at work. These chest-high sacks of charcoal in the town of Kibati are the product of deforestation that has, according to the United Nations, reached unprecedented levels. That's amid an ongoing insurgency in North Kivu province by the M23 rebel group. The violence has displaced over 1.7 million people like Jacques Muzayi.
I'm here because we're starving in the camp. We decided to produce charcoal to feed our children.
The insecurity has worsened pressure on the region's once densely forested hillsides and the Virunga National Park, home to many of the world's last mountain gorillas. Each morning in Kabati, crowds of locals and displaced people enter the park's territory in search of logs to burn to make charcoal. Others go deeper to cut trees for planks or plant crops in newly open land. And that's all happening in a park that is one of the most biodiverse territories on the continent, home to 3 types of great ape, bush elephants, and the endangered okapi, nicknamed Africa's unicorn. Bantu Lukambo is head of a local environmental organisation.
Frankly, for us as locals, it breaks our hearts because for us the park is everything. We live because of this park. So when we see that the park is being decimated, it breaks our hearts. And today we estimate that only around 20 square kilometers of forest in the southern sector remains.
In 2021, authorities declared martial law in Congo's east in response to the rising violence. According to a UN report, armed actors on both sides have profited off the production or trade in wooden planks in the areas they control. Illegal and uncontrolled logging, the July 8th report said, has led to the destruction of significant swathes of virgin forest in protected areas of Virunga. And here's what that looks like in satellite images taken between August 2022 and June 2024. Data from Global Forest Watch, an initiative that uses satellites to track deforestation, showed that annual tree cover loss in Virunga rose over 22% to 16,813 acres in 2021. A further 17,928 acres were lost in 2022. At a roadside depot in Kabati, planks, some of which have come from trees in Virunga, are unloaded off the back of motorbikes. Christophe Lewis, one of those displaced by the violence, says you earn up to 500 Congolese francs, that's about 18 US cents, per bike. He says he wants the authorities to do everything possible to end the war, because that is what pushes people to destroy the environment. If the war ends, he says, they will stop cutting the trees.
Entries are now open for the Republican Bridal Couple of the Year competition. Couples married between 1 March and 31 May 2024 have until 31 July of this year to enter the first round of the Republican Bridal Couple of the Year competition. One of the top 10 couples will be chosen from this pool to participate in the final, taking place in May 2025. To better your chance of reaching the final, enter now. To enter, simply WhatsApp #bridal2025 to 085 785 6231 and follow the on-screen instructions or scan this QR code.